In guns, particularly firearms, caliber is the approximate internal diameter of the gun barrel, or the diameter of the projectile it shoots. It is measured in hundredths or thousandths of an inch or in millimeters. For example, a .45 caliber firearm has a barrel diameter of roughly 0.45 inches, 11 millimeters. Barrel diameters can also be expressed using metric dimensions. For example, a 9 mm pistol has a barrel diameter of about 9 mm. It is rare for the actual barrel diameter to precisely match the designation, however, and the bullet itself is yet another dimension. When the barrel diameter is given in inches, the abbreviation cal, for caliber, can be used. For example, a small bore rifle with a diameter of 0.22 inches, 5.6 mm, can be referred to as .22 or a .22 cal. However, the decimal point is generally dropped when spoken, making it a 22 or a 22 caliber, or a .45 caliber would be a 45, or 45 caliber, etc. In a rifled barrel, the distance is measured between opposing lands or grooves. Groove measurements are common in cartridge designations originating in the United States, while land measurements are more common elsewhere in the world. Good performance requires a bullet to closely match the groove diameter of a barrel to ensure a good gas seal and hence maximal bullet propulsion. While modern firearms are generally referred to by the name of the cartridge the gun is chambered for, they are still categorized together based on bore diameter. For example, a firearm might be described as a .30 caliber rifle, which could be any of a wide range of cartridges using a roughly 0.30 inches, 7.6 millimeters, projectile, or a .22 rimfire, referring to any rimfire firearms firing cartridges with a .22 caliber projectile. Firearm calibers outside the range of .17 to .50 inches, 4.3 to 12.7 millimeters, exist, but are rarely encountered. Wildcat cartridges, for example, can be found in .10, .12, and .14 cal, 2.5, 3.0, and 3.6 millimeters, typically used for short-range varmint hunting, where the high-velocity, lightweight bullets provide devastating terminal ballistics with little risk of ricochet. Larger calibers, such as .577, .585, .600, and .700, 14.7, 14.9, 15.2, 17.8 mm, are generally found in proprietary cartridges chambered in express rifles or similar guns intended for use on dangerous game. The .950 JDJ is the only known cartridge beyond 70 caliber used in a rifle. Referring to artillery, caliber is used to describe the barrel length as multiples of the bore diameter. A 5-inch 50 caliber gun has a bore diameter of 5 in, 12.7 centimeters, and a barrel length of 50 times 5 in equals 250 in, 6.35 m. The main guns of the USS Missouri, Iowa-class battleship, are 1650 caliber. In shotguns, each gauge of shotgun has a set caliber. For example, a 12-gauge shotgun has a caliber of 18.53 mm or .729 inches. Cartridge naming conventions. Makers of early cartridge arms had to invent methods of naming cartridges since no established convention existed then. One of the early established cartridge arms was the Spencer repeating rifle, which Union forces used in the American Civil War. It was named based on the chamber dimensions, rather than the bore diameter, with the earliest cartridge called the number 56 cartridge, indicating a chamber diameter of .56 in. The bore diameter varied considerably, from .52 to .54 in. Later various derivatives were created using the same basic cartridge, but with smaller diameter bullets. These were named by the cartridge diameter at the base and mouth. The original number 56 became the .56 to 56, and the smaller versions, .56 to 52, .56 to 50, and .56 to 46. The .56 to 52, the most common of the new calibers, used a 50 calories bullet. Other black powder era cartridges used naming schemes that appeared similar, but measured entirely different characteristics. 0.45 to 70, 0.44 to 40, and 0.32 to 20 were designated by bullet diameter in hundredths of an inch and standard black powder charge in grains. Optionally, the bullet weight in grains was designated, e.g. 45-70-405. The scheme was far more popular and was carried over after the advent of early smokeless powder cartridges such as the .30 to 30 Winchester and .22 long. Later developments used terms to indicate relative power, such as .44 Special and .44 Magnum. Variations on these methods persist today, with new cartridges such as the .204 Ruger and .17 HMR, Hornady Magnum rimfire. Metric diameters for small arms refer to cartridge dimensions and are expressed within times between the bore diameter and the length of the cartridge case. For example, the 6.5 x 55 mm Swedish cartridge has a bore diameter of 6.5 mm and a case length of 55 mm. The means of measuring a rifled bore varies, and may refer to the diameter of the lands or the grooves of the rifling. This is why the .303 British, named for the bird diameter across the lands, actually uses a .311 in bullet, 7.70 mm versus 7.90 mm, as bullet diameter matches the diameter across the grooves. Meanwhile, the .308 Winchester is measured across the grooves and uses a .308 in diameter, 7.82 mm, bullet. The military specification version is known as 7.62 x 51 mm NATO, so called because the bore diameter measured between the lands is 7.62 mm, and the cartridge has a case 51 mm long. Metric and U.S. customary. The following table lists some commonly used calibers where both metric and U.S. customary are used as equivalents. Due to variations in naming conventions, and the whims of the cartridge manufacturers, bullet diameters can vary widely from the diameter implied by the name. For example, a difference of 0.045 in, 1.15 mm, occurs between the smallest and largest of the several cartridges designated as .38 caliber. Shotguns. Shotguns are classed according to gauge, a related expression. The gauge of a shotgun refers to how many lead spheres, each with a diameter equal to that of the bore, amount to 1 pound in weight. In the case of a 12-gauge shotgun, it would take 12 spheres the size of the shotgun's bore to equal a pound. A numerically larger gauge indicates a smaller barrel. A 20-gauge shotgun requires more spheres to equal a pound, therefore, its barrel is smaller than the 12-gauge. This metric is used in Russia as caliber number, e.g., shotgun of the 12 caliber. The 16th caliber is known as lordly, Russian. While shotgun bores can be expressed in calibers, the .410 bore shotgun is in fact a caliber measure of .41 caliber. The nature of shot shells is such that the barrel diameter often varies significantly down the length of the shotgun barrel, with various levels of choke and back boring. Caliber as measurement of length. The length of artillery barrels has often been described in terms of multiples of the bore diameter, e.g. a 4-inch gun of 50 calibers would have a barrel 4 in times 50 equals 200 in long. A 50 caliber 16-inch gun, 16-inch diameter shell, has a barrel length, muzzle to breech, of 50 times 16 equals 800 in, 66 feet 8 in. Both 14 in and 16 in Navy guns were common in World War II. The British Royal Navy insisted on 50 calories guns on ships as it would allow 1,900 to 2,700 pounds, 860 to 1,220 kilograms, shells to travel at an initial velocity of up to 1,800 miles per hour, 2,896 kilometers per hour, to a distance of 26 miles, 42 kilometers. Pounds as a measure of cannon bore. Smoothbore cannon and carronade bores are designated by the weight in imperial pounds of spherical solid iron shot of diameter to fit the bore. Standard sizes are 6, 12, 18, 24, 32, and 42 pounds, with some 68-pound weapons, and other non-standard weapons using the same scheme. See carronade #ordnance. From about the middle of the 17th century until the middle of the 19th century, measurement of the bore of large gunpowder weapons was usually expressed as the weight of its iron shot in pounds. Iron shot was used as the standard reference because iron was the most common material used for artillery ammunition during that period, and solid spherical shot the most common form encountered. Artillery was classified thereby into standard categories, with 3-pounders, PDR, 4 PDR, 6 PDR, 8 PDR, 9 PDR, 12 PDR, 18 PDR, 24 PDR, and 32 PDR. Being the most common sizes encountered, although larger, smaller and intermediate sizes existed. In practice, though, significant variation occurred in the actual mass of the projectile for a given nominal shot weight. The country of manufacture is a significant consideration when determining bore diameters. For example, the French lever, until 1812, had a mass of 489.5 g, whilst the contemporary English, avoirdupois, pound massed approximately 454 g. Thus, a French 32 PDR. At the Battle of Trafalgar threw a shot with 1.138 kilograms more mass than an English 32 PDR. Complicating matters further, muzzle-loaded weapons require a significant gap between the sides of the tube bore and the surface of the shot. This is necessary so the projectile may be inserted from the mouth to the base of the tube and seated securely adjacent the propellant charge with relative ease. The gap, called windage, increases the size of the bore with respect to the diameter of the shot somewhere between 10% and 20% depending upon the year the tube was cast and the foundry responsible. The relationship between bore diameter and projectile weight was severed following the widespread adoption of rifled weapons during the latter part of the 19th century. Guns continued to be classed by projectile weight into the mid-20th century, particularly in British service. However, this value no longer definitively related to bore diameter, since projectiles were no longer simple spheres and in any case were more often hollow shells filled with explosives rather than solid iron shot.
Please subscribe and thanks for watching.